All right.
Check out any like shakes.
Let's see what's happening, everybody. Let's see. Do you hear me is the question. Who is here? All right. Alvin and Tom and Ann and Bertie and Charlie. Yeah. What's happening, everybody? Let's see. Let me go over to this one. There we go. Okay. The camera's over here. You can see my closet. Can you hear me? So here's the thing that I'm trying to get working here is, okay, I hear that. Let's see. Let me get this in. If I can get it in the headphones. It's not, I don't always love to have the headphones here, but let's see. If I can get that in. I kind of hear that. Do you guys hear that? It's hard to tell. I should have done more testing here. Do you guys hear that coming through? I wish that let's see. Yeah, sounds good. Ann says it sounds good. Does it sound balanced? So what can I do in here? Ian says the audio is fine. Okay, so what's happening, everybody? Thank you, guys. I guess I'll just do with the headphones on for this episode here. So let's see. Let me get that going through the headphones. Do. Yeah, now I hear myself in my headphones. And over here, I can hear my oh yeah, not too close. All right. So what's up? The first thing to say is I skipped last week. I'm back today. I'm gonna sneeze. Pardon me. My name is Dallas Vieri. This is my accordion live stream. I can tell I'm talking too loud already. Let me fix that. Take that down a little bit. That should be better. All right. My name is Dallas Vieri. I'm in the Mojave Desert of Southern California, right near Coachella, actually, the Coachella Festival, which is going to have its second weekend, I believe this coming weekend. I landed on Sunday evening, and I took a selfie, which I still need to post on social media, but it was like one of those little selfie walls that was like, Alaska Airlines in Coachella, welcome you, whatever. Anyways, I felt very cool. And when I left Portland, I'm not cool enough to go to Coachella, but I felt cool. I'm at the place where everybody that's going to Coachella is flying to. And when I left Portland, the ticket counter person, if you could even call it that, the Portland airport was like very high tech, but like you just like follow instructions from this robot. It puts this like laser sort of image on this belt, and you put your bag there. You don't even talk to a person, and you're supposed to position it right in the little laser rectangle, and it wasn't working. And then the person came over. She was like, "Are you going to a Coachella?" I was like, "No, I'm not going to Coachella. I wish. I'm going to Joshua Tree." Anyways, that's happening now. And Paco y Catriel, I believe they played this past weekend. I missed them. That would have been fun to see them. They're really, really amazing. That's like my happy music. We've listened to them on the stream before. I had a great weekend. I did some family stuff, which was important in Portland this weekend. And I also made time to do accordion stuff, which is great. So in Portland, I saw 3 wonderful accordion players, and uh, 2 that I had met at Cinema. Courtney Vondrelli, who's frequently pops up in the chat to the stream and says hi. And he's an amazing composer and accordion player. His most, I think, popular group is called Three-Legged Torso. And we've listened to them on the stream. They're really great. And he plays with a bunch of different projects. And then Jenny Conley, who's in a very famous band called the Decemberists. They're like an indie rock band from the, I don't know, I shouldn't say when they're from. I don't know exactly know. I know of them basically in sort of the early to the 2000s, 2000 to 2010, 2015 and stuff. But I'm sure they're around before that, and they're doing stuff. In fact, they're going to be playing in Pennsylvania when I'm there, actually in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where I live. So I'm going to make it to their show at the Wind Creek Casino. That'll be cool to see Jenny. And I didn't know this, but I sent the selfie of all of us to my aunt, and my aunt said, "Is that Jenny Conley?" And I said, "Yeah, it is. She's my buddy." And she's like, "From the Decemberists and Portlandia." And I was like, "Well, Portlandia." And then my aunt sent me this episode. So Jenny Conley, I guess I had no idea because I haven't watched a ton of Portlandias, but Jenny Conley plays this character, this musician character that's a guitar player. That's I don't know, it's a funny character. And I had no idea. So how cool. Celebrity. So that was fun. And then the third accordion player that I met, and we all took this hike, it was really fun, goes by the stage name of Jet Black Pearl. Her name is Yeti, and she's a wonderful musician. I checked her out online. We didn't jam or anything. We just took a walk and like talked and stuff. It was really fun. And then before that, I took my rental car up to Seattle, where I saw my friends Jamie and Gabe, Jamie Mashler and Gabriel Hall Rodriguez, both amazing accordion players. They have multiple projects together. Creosote is their duo project, and Foliada is the name of their Fajo group that they lead. And then they're in another Fajo group called Encanto, all in Seattle. And Gabe went ahead and fixed a leak. He really helped the compression on this accordion a lot. He fixed a little thing. Gabe does a lot of the repairs at Potosa, and he does phenomenal work, and he's my friend, and I trust him. And what he can't do, he consults Joe Sr., and in the event something, Joe Sr. will do it, but I don't think that was necessary. I think Gabe knows stuff very well these days. And then Gabe also installed the harmonic microphone system, and that was fun because I had a nice conversation with Gabe about, asking him, because Gabe is the guy that the Jonathan Del Monte is the man who owns the company, Harmonic Microphones, and is a wonderful accordion player and bandoneon player. He's a Brazilian guy. He lives down, I think, in Porto Alegre, if I remember correctly. Anyways, and he is an engineer and a scientist and an audio, technician and all this kind of stuff. And he contacted Gabe first, saying, "Hey, I know you, you do Brazilian stuff, check out, you're a great accordion player, check out these microphones." So from the beginning, Gabe has been the first guy and the most informed, and he's been down there to hang out with Jonathan and be friends and tour the factory and all that sort of stuff. So he is the expert. Gabe is the American expert on harmonic microphones, and he's installed a ton of them, and he knows all the systems in and out. And talking to him and Jamie, we talked about the various features that are on them and the price differences and stuff. And I opted to go for the highest model, which is called the FX model. And I haven't even had a chance to play with it at all, because as soon as I got it installed, I drove back down to Portland and was just doing family stuff the whole time. And then yesterday I was just kind of settling in and handling things here. And I put the accordion back together actually yesterday, and it wasn't working. And I figured it was just the switches, because Gabe was showing me how this FX model has all these tons of cool things you can do with it. So I thought that might be the issue. And then today after my group class and it wasn't working, I was like, oh yeah, when I put the accordion back together, because I took it apart for the plane flight again home. Anyways, when I put the accordion back together, I remembered that I didn't connect the wiring harness again. to connect the left-hand side to the right-hand side. So nothing was connected or working. So that's why I started the stream with that great recording of Alex Meixner's performance of the, what's it called? The Cantina Band song from Star Wars. Because I had to go to the kitchen table, open up the accordion again, connect it, close the accordion, and then fiddle with it. But this is a big plug for Potosa Accordions. They're just a phenomenal company. I feel like I prefer the way that they treat me as a performer and a professional musician. They work with everybody. I think I get the sense they treat everybody the same, but that level of treatment I feel very understood. It helps that I'm friends with the guy who does most of the repairs there, but even if I wasn't, I think that I would be afforded the same treatment, which is great, and just excellent service. And I'm super happy with it, and I can't wait to get some more of these cool features under my fingers and share them with you. Just how cool this is. I know it has reverb built into it. There's like a bass octaver, which I'm excited to try. There's an old friend. Being here in the desert, I have an old friend from high school who was the drummer in the high school jazz band, and he's a great guy, and I haven't played with him in a long time, and we want to get together. I'm like, oh, that'll be really cool to do duo and put on that bass octaver, because like for just solo accordion and drums, I think like that might help, and maybe allow us to go in some different type of situations. I know that this drummer, my friend Carlos, he plays a lot of like drum and bass, techno electronica sound, kind of percussion, amongst other stuff. It's like, oh, that'll be cool. There's all kinds of like a vibrato effect. I don't even want to rattle it all off, but that'll be really fun as I get more of that together. What other news? Then I woke up to this email from Wix, the new website, which is doing great, and I'm slowly building it out, which still says under construction, and it really is still under construction, especially after this morning's email. But I just want to show you guys, and I got to get this set up soon because we're going to start. We are going to start the accordion yoga next week. But anyways, I woke up to this email that Wix is stopping the forums, which is a drag because there are two community options for Wix websites. One is just like an old school forums, like 1990s, super simple hierarchical forums. And the other one is something called groups, which is much more of like a Facebook style feed where just I don't know, there's more stuff there, and it's more designed to kind of keep new content and like posts and stuff. And I with the help of some users and students and stuff that like took the time very graciously to help me test the stuff, their opinion and my opinion was to go with the forums, which I have been using and great, and everybody's used to it, and it's starting to get handled. And now I just woke up to an email saying in September they're going to stop the forums, remove them from all Wix websites, and you need to start migrating your content to these new groups. And there's already a problem where I can't delete groups. I started the migration process. I started playing around with it. But anyways, I just want to show you guys, starting here. Let's see if we can see anything without joining. It's weird. Yeah, all this space. Anyways, it's still under construction. There are definitely some cooler features about this though. For example, so let's see. Will it show here? Yeah. So I can add events to the group. So when you log in, once this is working, probably in another day or so, I'll have it all figured out. But right now, you log into the free community, and this is where there will be fewer buckets. So this free community will have all the free events, which includes all the live streams. So as I post more live streams, they'll be here, and you can click into that. It does another cool thing where all of the media that I've uploaded, or anybody has uploaded, you guys, the users and stuff, you can find it all in the post, but you can also find it in this media tab, which is very neat. And that's cool. That's from everybody's posts. It just happens to be, so far, I'm the only one that's posted media in this particular area. And same for files. So I've added all these PDF files. So this makes it like fun. You can browse and see the other stuff. Oh, he put up a Hanukkah thing, and he put up that sort of stuff. So that's cool. And I can add some more tabs. This is a weird post that's not supposed to be there. But anyway, you can see how this sort of works. Here's commenting on the book club. And so there will be some changes, but that's just to alert you guys. So I got to fix this ASAP. That'll be kind of my top priority today and tomorrow to get these groups going. And so then the other thing is that I'm going to start with accordion yoga soon. When are we starting? Are we starting Monday? I have to remember. Let's go to events, all events. What did I decide? Wait for it to load here. I'm going to send out an email, and I've decided that it's not loading. Calendar is not loading. Let's see. See if another one of these will load. I don't know why that's not loading. It's because the website is still under construction, everybody. Sorry about that. Oh, man. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. I'll get this figured out. I don't know why it's not loading in. Yeah, it's not loading in Safari either. Okay. All right. Well, the calendar's down. Look for an email from me about when the accordion yoga class is starting up, and you'll be able to sign up for it and all that sort of stuff. The minimum cost is just the monthly subscription, which gives you access to all of the accordion yoga classes and all of the online courses, pardon me, all the online courses that are available that I keep adding to, including all the Django stuff that I've made. And I just added a bunch of stuff from the expression and creativity classes, which I call Beginning Beautifully. So I just added course content from here. So there's a great video that I have. Oh, it wants me to log in. Oh, 1 moment. Let's see. Okay. Will it let me see? Sometimes it doesn't. Oh. Okay. Anyways, take my word. I don't want to. I'm obviously not prepared for today's live stream, but here I am. Oh, you guys didn't even. Did you see? You didn't see any of that. Oh my God. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Ian. Thanks, everybody, telling me. Judy and Ian being like, we can't see anything. All right, guys, let's try this again. Sorry. Here's what to do. Let me show all that again. But I have to log in as who? I have to log in as Terry the tester. Okay. Okay. So here's everything that I just showed. Okay, so here's the community groups that used to be the forums. There are way too many of them here because it did like an auto migrate. I hit the auto migrate button and then it just did everything. But the cool thing about the groups, there's cons to the groups. The cons of the groups is that it's just more cluttered. It's a little bit harder to find, and there's more like just shit like stuff. The pros of the groups is that of that extra stuff is some usable stuff. Like this is a problem right here. Like, why did it post this? I didn't ask it to post that. But here are some of the cooler things. So this is the free community, which is I'm gonna try to use fewer communities. So just one community that will have all the live stream stuff, and like just general discussion, questions, things for free members will be here. So one cool thing is that all the free events I'll be able to add to the community so you can find them here, which is nice. And then the media thing that I was talking about, this is it. So anything that's posted, Like this, if I go down to, let's see if I find an old post, probably something about music. Here we go. So like this is something that I posted, which is right here. And I have a download for the PDF, and then I included my iPad notes here, and you can see more of my post. It looked better when it was the forums, but that's fine. And then the video link. So there's a few image files and a PDF. What this groups feature does, which I'm calling communities, is it will take any of them, what it considers media, which are images and YouTube links, and it'll put it in this tab. So for any of the posts, if you guys post stuff that has images or YouTube links, or me, whatever, they're all going to go into this tab, which is cool. That I think that's fun to browse and see stuff. I don't think that it links you back to the post, which is a drag. There are many features that are not working here, or many features that are needed from the developers, but this is what we got. So, and then also YouTube videos. So you can click these. So that's kind of cool. And then the files has PDF files that I've added to the posts as well. So you can find that. And then if people share their arrangements or whatever here on the site, you guys can find that. And if you want to see who's a member right now, nobody is a member because I have to go and add everyone again, or you have to join yourself. But anyway, so that's that. What else was I going to say? It just, today it's definitely broken. If you click that, there's not even a menu on this page, and I'm not sure how to add one yet, but I'll figure all that out, and I'll get that all cleared up real quick. And then what was I going to, the other thing I was trying to do was get the calendar page on the website to load. And there it is. Okay, it decided to load, so that's cool. Okay, so accordion yoga is starting on Monday, the 21st at 10 a.m. And if I click enough times, it should open a pop-up modal window. Thanks, website. You're working great. Just kidding. Not working so good. Let's see. If I do it as a list. Nope. By the week. Here we go. No. Well, like I said, I'll send out a I will send out a email with how to sign up for the plan. If you're taking lessons already, like if you're already on a subscribing plan to take individual lessons, all of the membership stuff is included with that. So you have access to all the courses, and you have access to all of the what do you call it? All the accordion yoga classes for free. Okay. Wow. Let's listen to some music. I'm off my game. Too many things. But all right, let's listen to some music. I'm going to get another espresso, and then I'm going to come back with my iPad, and we are going to do the song called Seul Ce Soir, and we'll watch a few other YouTube videos, and we'll just see where this hour takes us. Let's see. Yeah, the very first video that we saw today is Alex Meixner's band at Verstfest, which is where? In Texas somewhere? In New Braunfels, where Alex lives. And it features somebody who's an amazing accordion player and also amazing like everything else player, which is Rory Hoffman here. Rory, R-O-R-Y, Hoffman here on the sitting with the guitar on his lap with the blue accordion t-shirt on. And he is just super amazing musician, as is everybody else on the stage. Alex, of course. Rory, super special. Let's go ahead and listen to. We'll listen to a little Maria Mexicano and Baldo Frederick. We'll see what else we got here, and I'll be back with an espresso in just a minute.
Frumoasă pentru toate nuțile frumoase. De jumătatea tuturor. Orchestra Maria Mexicano și Petruț. Cu talent! dau ție dragoste ce înseamnă fericire și de la mine, doar pentru tine, dar fără număr iubire. Îți dau ție, tu dai mie dragoste ce înseamnă fericire și de la mine, doar pentru tine, fără număr iubire. Haide zi, cine te-a iubit mai frumos ca noi amândoi. Haide zi-ne tu, lasă nu zic eu, iubire ca la noi se găsește greu. Haide zi, cine s-ar iubi mai frumos ca noi amândoi. Haide zi-ne tu, lasă nu zic eu, iubire ca la noi se găsește greu. Așa, tata! Să-ți arate mai multă iubire. Eu cu tine, tu cu mine, suntem făcuți să arătăm iubire. N-are cine să-ți aline, să-ți dea ție mai multă iubire. Eu cu tine, of, tu cu mine, să ne arătăm iubire. Haide zi, cine s-ar iubi mai frumos ca noi amândoi. Haide zi-ne tu, ca să nu zic eu, iubire ca la noi se găsește greu. Haide zi, cine s-ar iubi mai frumos ca noi amândoi. Haide zi-ne tu, ca să nu zic eu, iubire ca la noi. Iar albastră! Am vrea ca să faci special pentru cei care ne privesc. Ce simți tu? Dar Vioara Albastră este actuală în formația Orchestra Marea Mexicană. Să plângă Vioara, dar să danseze cei de acasă. Haide! pentru toate copurile cu dragoste.
All right. That was really fun. Balder Frederick, prolific poster, and so we're prolific listeners. All right, what's up? Okay, so I do want to work. I do want to sell things. I do want to offer them to you guys. So let's see. All right, so what is accordion yoga? Accordion yoga is a weekly, at least I'm going to start with one class a week and have a whole video course library of stuff and community all based around those classes. And I'm going to have polls and questions to help me find maybe if I need to move the class to a different day or time, or if I need to add an additional class throughout the week. I'm fine with that. But I don't want to do any of that until I get this started going, and then I can figure out once people start doing it and can tell me, what's a good schedule for them. It's really tough because I have, I've theoretically people in the United Kingdom and in Europe, and then across the time zones in North America, all to accommodate for a group class. And that's not possible with one time or even two times, but I'm willing to do it, if it seems like it's worth it, if there's turnout and interest and stuff. This class is, it's a way of approaching technique that's centered around having this wonderful bellows control where we're creating this floor of pressure all the time, and wonderful touch with relaxation of unneeded tension and relaxation of accumulated tension. So it's things that you have heard me talk about on the stream before. It's the way that I practice. It's the way that I'm sharing with my students. And I really believe in it. It takes a lot of ideas that I've gotten from Jacques and Natalie at Cinema School. It blends them with other things that I have learned through my experience and through other teachers, my own discoveries. And it is for all levels. So if you're just a very beginner, this will be perfect for you. If you're a professional accordion player and you do full-time gigs, but you are interested in, massaging, shifting your technique some, this is for you as well. There are no traditional yoga poses. We won't be doing warrior 1 or warrior 2 or child's pose or any of that kind of stuff. The name accordion yoga is supposed to describe that we will be doing sort of very minimal movements. So pressing a note, pressing another note, etc. Very mindfully, very slow, and with a lot of care and attention. This will still develop speed and massive technique just for myriad reasons that I won't go into right now. I have some description of the course. So, okay, what do I say? Learn to develop control and technique while relaxing tensions in your body and your emotions. It's true. This class goes slow and deep for all levels from beginner to professional. Yeah, here we go. So here's a description here. And I'm going to do a much better, before I email out about it in a couple days, I will do a much better job of making this easy to find. A lot of it is just the website issues, which is an ongoing thing in my life. It is my Groundhog Day. Anyway, in order to get into this class, you need to have one of the subscription plans, paid subscription plans, but it's remarkably affordable. If you got the least expensive subscription plan, that's the tier 0. There's no direct link to this from the website right now. I will, as soon as I can, I will put this in the menu so you can find it easily. I'm laughing at myself. But this tier 0 gives you access to all of the accordion yoga classes. Eventually, I'm going to add probably a 1 hour group thing where you could just join it and ask me some questions about stuff. So if you're working on things on the website like courses and you're not taking private lessons with me, one-on-one lessons, this gives you a little bit of time. I'll probably manage it to small time slots, like, 5 minutes or 10 minutes tops or something like that. But you can ask me questions. I can work with you. I'll give you whatever, and it'll be sort of an open format. That's not launching now, but that will be in the future for included in this. And then all of the course content. And let's see, I'm logged in, so now I can show you the course stuff. So here's the course library page, and I just recently added the beginning beautifully content, which I was trying to show you guys a moment ago, and I was logged in with the wrong account. This is good. This is a video that I made on posture and positioning that I'm very proud of. It's wonderful. I suggest everybody that is a member watch this video in particular. It's great. I have like exercises and assignments. I did these are content that I made for the beginning beautifully class that are really great and describe a lot of stuff. And there's a lot of other content on there as well, including today we're going to talk about a song called Seul Ce Soir, which I already have course material up from the volume 1 gypsy jazz class that I did in 2022. And let's see, where is it? Where's Seul Ce Soir? Je t'entrerai. Here's Seul Ce Soir. So you could go to, if you were a paid site member, and again, like I said, if you're already taking lessons from me, you're probably in this cycle now of the recurring billing subscription thing. And that's the reason why I wanted to do the recurring billing thing, because it's been my plan all along that like people that are taking lessons from me, we can work on content. And then I could also say, hey, okay, we did this thing, but like go to this video, because I told you something about this, but like I have 3 more videos about the same topic that you might want to check out on the site. Or maybe a student is like on the site checking out the content for the website, and you see something and you start learning it, and then you want to ask me about it, like, hey, I'm working on this video that you made, you coach me on it or whatever, give me feedback, or where do I go next? So that's been the master plan for years, and it's finally starting to get going. Anyways, so there are, if we go to the plans, let's see, where are the plans? Oh yeah, the plans. Okay. So right now I can just get there, rising read. Sorry, this is totally infomercial style, guys. I will get to music soon. Anyways, if you go to plans, which I'll add to the website, you could do this is just everything that's not a one-on-one lesson. And then this is all of the online course content and all of the accordion yoga. And when I do the kind of live masterclass thing once a week or twice a month, I'm not sure how often I'm going to do it, but something like that, that'll be included. And then you get 1 lesson a month. And then this is the same, everything except for you get 2 lessons a month. And this is the most popular one because people have already been signing up for 2 lessons a month. But I think this is going to be really great as I get more content and this website's laid out better for you guys. There are also like restricted community groups that you can only access if you are one of these paid memberships. And I'll share more about that. Okay, so that is the deal, and that'll be up soon. And I will send out an email to the subscriber list, which if you are watching this now or in the future, and you're not on the email list already, go to this sign up for email, and then you can put your email address in there, and then you'll be on the list and you'll get my updates. Yeah. Okay. So with no further ado, let's get into actually some music. Ed, how long are the private? Okay. Well, so Judy's asking, how long are the private lessons? The private lessons are all an hour. So you get 1 hour of my time. I record the class for you. Looks like there's something on no, it's just a weird beard pattern. I record the class for you on using a really cool technology called Fathom, which does a great AI like understanding of our conversation, and then it's super searchable, and it breaks out like next actions and stuff. And I share that with you, and then any other materials, and then you can email me for coaching and further stuff. Those are hour-long lessons. And then very soon I'll be offering up the next group class in addition to the accordion yoga, which is going to be on the jazz chords, which I've been promising for months and months now. And so that's all the roadmap. Okay, let's get to music. Stop screen sharing this. Go over to this. There we go. Okay. So the first thing that I was doing setting this up while we were listening to the other videos is I was I took a PDF. I took this PDF from Django in June, which you guys should all download. Let me show you. So you go to djangoinjune.com. See if this takes me there. Go to djangoinjune.com and then go to the Django camp and then get ready. And this is every year where they update it. And this is not locked. So even if you haven't signed up for the camp, you can still get all this material and start working on it. And if you are signed up for Django in June, you should start working on these tunes, especially at least all of the tier 1 tunes. Those, let's see, how many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those 8 tunes. And then these tier 2 tunes. If you're good with those tier 1s, then start learning the tier 2s. And then this is the, down here, the Gypsy Jazz Standards Volume 1 is the PDF that I'm using today. So you can get your own copy of that here. And we don't need tablature like for guitar. And we don't need a B flat. So we just need the notation only version. And then here it is. And so I'm on an iPad, and for sheet music nowadays, I do just primarily iPad. And I wanted to show you that what I was doing was adding buttons here. So I added a button, and this is cool, cool little technology. So what I have done on in Fourscore is you can create a document that's just, they call it templates. So here I'm going to hit the templates button, and then I can create a template. And you can make your own template, or you can use these. Basically, it's either blank pages or pages of manuscript paper. So lately I use this one, and then I do 10 pages or whatever. So create that, which is what I did here. And then I merged these two. So I took, this is the PDF that I just downloaded, and I merged them together so that the sheet music is at the back of this PDF. So now this merged DIJ, that's what this is. And the cool thing that I can do is I can create a link, because today I'm going to be switching back and forth from this lead sheet, and I want to switch back to the back of the PDF, which you can see it's way back here. It's that far. And that to find that every single time would be really fiddly. Although there, look, I got exactly to it. So this was really easy to do. And I just want to show everybody that uses Fourscore this. And I would encourage you, if you have an iPad sitting around already, start using it for sheet music. It's really wonderful. And the app that pretty much every musician that I know uses is called Fourscore, like Fourscore in 7 years ago. But it's FOR, not FOUR. So FORSCORE. And then we're just gonna add a button. So I added a button already. That's that one. And now I need to add a button back because it doesn't add a button back. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to buttons, and then we're gonna go to there, and then let's see what's going on. Something weird. Button settings. Oh, this is weird. Okay. Huh. Maybe I need to go. Can I only add one button, actually? I wonder. This is this is not my best live stream, guys. I'm somewhat unprepared today. If I go to here. Oh, well, yeah, now it's doing something totally weird. Okay. Forget the tutorial on buttons, but basically I add a button that will take me there. So then all I have to do is fiddle to get it back. So there we go. Okay, so much for that. On with the show. This is a medium ballad, not a super slow ballad, but a medium ballad. It sounds a lot like many other tunes. And in that respect, it's a little confusing. That brings a little bit of a challenge, a unique challenge to it because it's so similar to other songs. The melody sounds a lot like When You're Smiling. And the chords and the melody sound a lot like another Django tune called Je t'enverrai. Let's see. Make myself big. How's the audio? Okay. So there's an initial version of the tune. Not doing too much with it, but trying to keep the Frank Morocco left hand, which is what I'm all about these days. It just provides just the best support system for learning the tune. And I think these chords are largely complete. I'm trying to think if there's maybe just one spot where I might, for a student, add something different. And that's here at the very end of the tune where we really need a sus chord first. But moving forward, like the first step here that I like to do is to talk about the form of the song. Let's see. There we go. So the form of this song, here's a quiz for you guys. What is the form of the song? The thing that we'll want to do is count the measures and then look at the song. You know, it takes some analysis. So how many measures are in the song? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. It's halfway through. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. 32, which is the most common. So as I say over and over again, because that's often how teaching needs to be, is that so many of our canon of swing and jazz tunes are 32 measures long. And this one is, and they are often they're broken up into two different ways. One is the way that this one is broken up, which is the song has two halves. The first half we call the A, and the second half we call the B. And there are elements that are repeated always in A-B form songs. So the element that's repeated always is at least the first 4 bars, melodically and harmonically. So that means the melody that's written on the page or that the instrument is performing, and then the chords that are being performed, not the lyrics, of course. The lyrics are usually not the same. They're different. And so if we look here, we do see that, yeah, like if we go note to note, these measures are the same, these measures are the same, these measures are the same, these measures are the same. And even in this song, the next 4 are the same also. Now I've got a ton of stuff written here, but let me change that. So we use orange. So this first half and this first half, right? So structure, this helps you understand the song. It helps you remember the song, helps you memorize it, helps you compare it to other songs and learn other songs more quickly. So this is always like the very first thing that I do. And I've done it just so many times that it comes very quickly. But there was a time not that many years ago where I needed to think about all this stuff. And so that might be where you're at. And that's okay. So we want to know that this is an AB form song. And look, like if I've learned the first 8 bars, I've also learned 8 bars that happen later in the song. And the melody is exactly the same as written here by Jack Soref from Django and June. So then what happens is you have almost like a first ending and a second ending. You know, like you could think of, let's see, I'll do purple. You could think of this as the first ending, right? And then you could think of, I'll do green, this as the second ending, if you were memorizing this song or working on it. And that's great because we as humans, we love to know that a section just repeated. Oh yeah, all I have to do is kind of go back to my memory and play that section again. That's what happens next, you know? So that's really good, really, really useful. And this is also good to understand how these songs work. So it's like there are also very common harmonic things that happen. So usually at this part of the song, about 8 bars before the end of the tune, a 32 bar form AB song will go to either the key of the 4 or the key of the 2. And this song goes to first the key of the 2 and then the key of the minor 4. A lot of times a song might just go to like an F major here and then an F minor, or maybe not even an F minor, but very frequently F major to F minor or F major to F sharp diminished, then back to the rest of the turnaround. And that I like to call the take me out to the ball game. Root. So you have a 4, a sharp 4 diminished, a 1 chord over a 5 to the 6 dominant, to the 2, to the 5, to the 1. And that's essentially what you have here. Like you have so what I just did was play the Take Me Out to the Ball Game melody, but with the chords that are written here. D minor and F minor. Root. So root on the D minor. So that's going down to the A7, to the D minor 7, to the G7, and the C. And like, why am I describing it like that? Because information, we need to like label things. And what I'm giving you are some really important labels that are very broad. First, about the song. So we're going to label this song as an A-B form because we've analyzed it and we see that there are 16 bars in the A and 16 bars in the B, and the first 8 measures of the A and the first 8 measures of the B are the same. And this is something we find in so many A-B form songs. And then the next thing that I'm telling you is that this particular version of an A-B song, this song called Seul Ce Soir, does a very common thing that A-B form songs do in the last 8, and that is that they do some version of the Take Me Out to the Ball Game chords. And for me, that's a great label because I can immediately in my head go root, root, root for the dum 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 dum, right? That pops up in my head as a very iconic memory of a chord progression here. And so I offer that to you guys because it's very, very handy. This same A-B form is the form of almost every musette waltz that I've ever come across. Just about. There are a few that don't do this, like Mysterious, I think is a little different. Is that correct? I guess I'd have to go analyze it. Maybe it is the same. There are some that are a little different, but in general, the A section for all the musettes are 32 bar forms, and they all do this thing. They go to the 4, and then they find a way back to the 1. Indifference does it. Flambément Tabanaise does it. I mean, so many do it. And then so many of our Great American Songbook tunes that are A-B form. Not all of them are A-B. Half of them, let's say, and the other half are AABA. And that's another very predictable form that gives us stability, and we can compare and learn. Like if you've learned 2 A-B form songs, then it's really easy to learn a third one and just isolate the ways that the newest A-B form song is different. This is a wonderful way to approach information. Is like the purpose of analyzing, is to help us understand and use the information. And I see that I need to plug in my laptop. So give me 1 second to get that cord from the kitchen, and I'll be right back. Meanwhile, can anyone post in the chat the name of another American songbook, like jazz standard, that is A-B form? 32 bars A-B. Okay, we got juice. This would be a great subject for another one. How about It Had to Be You? It had to be you. So all of me. Okay. Yay. Thanks, Charlie. So Charlie says all of me, which might be in this book. It is. So let's check it out. And it is. And in fact, it's written in a way that is first ending, second ending. So this is not usually the way the tune is written, but Jack wrote it this way. So we can see, if we count, each line has 4 measures. So we have 4, 8, 12, 16, and then another 4. So you have, because we're going to start up here again. So you have 20, 24, and then down here, 28, and then 32. So you have 32 measures. And of those 32 measures, Jack wrote it this way for ease of comprehension. This is going to be the first 8 of both sections. So and you wouldn't know if I just sang the first half of the tune or the second half of the tune, if this was a little drop needle quiz. But you would, based on what I sing next. So if I you took the part that once was my heart, you'd know, oh, he was singing the second half of the tune. Not that this is anything you would need to know, but I guess I'm just trying to show that they are similar. Let's look at the other tune, which was It Had to Be You. So if we look at It Had to Be You, one of the first things to do when you're analyzing is just to count. So this has been formatted in a wonderful way that's better, way better for reading music, which is essentially 4 measures per line. So I can just count the lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 times 4 is 32. So we know there's 32 measures and we don't count that pickup. So 32 measures. So it is. And then we just start looking at the thematic material. So there is a double bar line, which is there. But if we take the first 4 here and the first 4 here, they look identical to me. And I don't see, like, what I might see would be like if this 8 bar is repeated, but I don't see that. So it's not an AAB. It's not an AABA form. And then I can look at the next 4. This isn't always the case in AB forms. Sometimes it's only the first 4 measures that repeat. Sometimes it's the first 8 measures that repeat. But this one more or less does. The first 3 measures here are the same. And then going on, this melodically is a little different. And then the last 8 of both, so here and here, is different. And let's see, let me get rid of all this crazy stuff. And we have our version of Take Me Out to the Ball Game. So there are basically 2 ways to do that, to do the turnaround that takes us back to the 1. And we have to keep our ears open because a lot of tunes, it's just based up to the musicians of the way they're going to do it, regardless of how it's sort of written. But here it's 4 and then 4 minor. So 4 major and 4 minor. But the Take Me Out to the Ball Game is 4 major and then sharp 4 diminished. And that's just a variation that you have there. So this is again about harmonic vocabulary. And I guess just the sort of conventions or vocabulary of songwriting from that period. And that goes way back to like marching band music. So before jazz standards and American Songbook, you had John Philip Sousa writing marches. And a lot of his marches are 32 bar A, B form themes and melodies. Beep, beep, dee, 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 doo, dee, dun. So a tradition of songwriting that goes way back before the mid-century, and before other forms do this too. Tango has a lot of 32 bar AB music. Choro has a lot of 32 bar. In fact, tons of choro is written where the first section is 32 bars and the form is AB. What are the other ones? Musettes, of course, and they're all from around a similar. They all have a tradition of popular music, which kind of enters into the end of the 19th century, the late 1800s. The origins of the music that leads to these styles, and then in the early 20th century and mid 20th century becomes really codified, and then after that, getting more and more modern, then kind of becomes more art music, really. Anyways, that's enough of my little artistic rant. So that's about the form. So we have our form, which is AB here. And after that, that's cool because that means, like, if we're memorizing the tunes, which I suggest you do, it's just going to speed you up in all ways, although it can be challenged. That speeds you up because if you've learned, there are 32 measures total. The first 8 are found in the second half. So if you learn the first 8, you have half of the tune. Very cool. Very useful. The next place to start then is in the chord shapes. So what are we going to do? And as far as swing music is concerned, these are very simple chords. They're not simple for a beginner accordion player, but they're not crazy hard either. So I would not give this tune to a beginner to learn, mostly because of those B7 jumps. And also a minor 7 flat 5 is not the easiest chord. But just talking about it, going through the left hand, we'll talk about this in the right hand, but when we see C major, Jack Soroff is the name of this guy, my friend, who I've gotten to be friends with. He is the man in charge of creating the published learning materials for Django and June, and he has been doing that for many, many years now. Probably not the whole time, but for a long time, 15 years or something. And the way he does these charts, I like it because he doesn't tell you what kind of major chord does. He doesn't say a major 7, and he doesn't say a major 9, and he doesn't say a major 6, and he doesn't say like a major 6-9 chord or any of that. He just says a major chord for us. And it's up to us to find the one that we like and the one that fits. And for you guys, the one that fits, both because it stylistically sounds more gypsy jazz and because it fits the melody, is the major 6. If the other one that we could do that's possible is a major 7, and there's really nothing wrong with that when we're improvising. However, the major 7 would clash with the melody in this case. So the melody here is a C, which is the root. And if we were to play a chord that had the B natural in it, that is very likely to clash with the melody. So that's why the major 6 is a better choice, because that 6 stacks under the melody just like that. Okay. But that doesn't affect the left hand. I mean, you could play a major 6. You could play, they're not easy to make sound good. That's basically an A minor with a C bass. And so it's missing the G that's in a major 6. If I could somehow, which I don't know a good fingering for this, if I could play the major chord and the A minor with the, but that's not worth it. So I just play a major C major triad. Okay, so we're doing left hand now. And then we have B7. And this is tough. So for all the beginning, even intermediate, making that leap accurately to the B7 column is not easy. That's a big leap. And this is sort of the one way that the stradella is really makes our life harder. And that's when we have to move chords, the same kind of chord, or we have to move half steps in a chord. And in most cases, if you move from a chord built on the fundamental bass to another chord built on the fundamental bass, it's not easy. So let me talk about some options, and I'll write these down. But you might want to try using a chord based off of the counterbass. So here we have C, and here is the counterbass of C, which is B. So I'm going to use this little button. That doesn't work. Now it does. Okay. So we're going to call this okay. Okay, so there's our stradella, and here's our B bass, right? And the notes that we need in a B7 chord, the ones that we need the most are the A natural and the we need the D sharp, and that's the 7th is the A natural, and the D sharp is the 3rd. So the 3rd and the 7th are the ones that we need the most. And we can get those if we use a chord from the F column. And that's what I'm going to suggest as one of the options here that would be good to learn. So instead of having this, I'll just demonstrate. Instead of leaping from here all the way up to here, which we can certainly do, and leap back down again, you can do it, and you should do it. I mean, it's like, it is a technique. However, there's a lot of movement and motion in there. And so what we could do is we could do, and then that one. Now, there's a lot of wild color in there that it versus this sound. There's one note in particular, the F natural in that chord, which gives it a lot more color, and we might not want to. So does that sound too weird and dissonant to our ears? It might. And the reason that it does is because we're playing an F7 chord. So this is B bass and then F7 chord. And what we get is a B7 with a sharp 11 on it. And I do use this chord shape a lot. I don't know that I would use it on this song because this, in that third measure of the melody, it's pretty gentle and sweet. And I don't really think that it's supposed to have such a strong dissonant sound to it. But nevertheless, I want to explore our options. So the way that you could find that, if it's not easy to find at the immediate, is grab an F7 chord. So with your whatever finger you use on the F normally, if you use third on the F or fourth on the F, whatever that is, and put your index finger here on the F7, play that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to keep our index finger on the F7. Sorry, the camera's being weird. And then reach our middle finger up to the B counterbass. There it is. So here. Just like that. So that could work for sure in other contexts. So a tune, I show this one a lot, like a tune like Caravan. In this case, that Caravan is so dissonant, and the hook to it, the hook of the groove is C7 to D flat 7. And that would be really hard to go. To make that huge leap would be very hard and prone to errors. So instead, I'm going to use this shape that I just showed, which gives you a sharp 11. I'll play just regular old C7. But then for the D flat 7, I'll move my camera. Why are you being weird? I'll move up to like I'm playing G7. So this is like a variation. It's a tritone substitution is how I think of it. So it's like I'm playing G7. So C7 to G7, you could practice that. Okay, so that's kind of the rhythm of Caravan. And then instead of playing the G bass note, I'm going to grab the C sharp bass note with my middle finger. So I have C7. And then up here, my index finger is just going from C7 to G7. And I'm using two different fingers, but I'm doing a fourth finger on C and then a middle finger on the C sharp or D flat above A. So I combine those. So that works really well there. There's another one we can make using the F diminished chord. So if we do F diminished, is that right? No. What? C diminished, rather. C diminished. Okay. And this is not a good instrument to show this on because this accordion, as I've talked about in the past, has the the root clipped from the diminished chord. But if you did this on your accordion and you don't have a sort of Frank Morocco style clipped root, you're going to play a B bass note on the counter bass. I'll say counter and B counter bass. And then you're going to play a C diminished chord button. So here's the C diminished. And the C diminished gives us C, E flat, and A. And that's the third, and that's the seventh of a B chord. This gets a little weird to think about, but these are the important notes that we need, that we have. And then we also have this note that we don't necessarily need, but it's in there anyways. It's the flat 9. So that's the flat 9. I'll go ahead and write this out also. So if you're using the F7, you have the third and the seventh, and then the sharp 11 is the F here. So this is C diminished button, and this is F7 button. It's good to know all the music theory around this stuff. I'm just putting that line under because that's how you usually notate a counterbass. So on this accordion, though, that I am holding, it's made to the specifications attributed to Frank Morocco. I don't know if anybody knows if it goes before him. But on this accordion, which was made for Frank Morocco, there are no roots in the diminished chord. So the C diminished button has only 2 notes, the E flat and the A. So that's... So I'm playing A and E flat. So you can hear that there's no C in there. That's not in that note, in that chord rather. And that's deliberately done so he can have an unaltered dominant 7 chord. So he can use this shape that I'm showing you right now. And you don't hear the C, which would be a flat 9, which is quite dissonant also. Both of these options are dissonant. This is dissonant, and this is dissonant. So we don't really have an option for a non-dissonant movement that's close, but but having that dissonance in there might not be the worst thing, you know. So I encourage you guys to try this. However, the best solution, I think, which is what I would suggest, is just work on the leap after having said all that. But it's very important to, like, when we're going through a tune and we're working on it in the left hand, to think about how could I make these chords and where do I want to make them? So for example, so when the first, let's see, 6 bars, right? We have the first 6 bars here to there. We've covered all this chord, C to B7 to C, no problem. And the C6, we're going to play in the right hand, but not in the left hand. Left hand's just going to be major, basic C triad. It's quite dissonant, but it could work. Django certainly loved the whole tone scale. Okay, so now let's talk about the left hand on the E minor 7, flat 5, A7. What I would do there is for me, the most convenient thing coming from this C major chord is to use the counter bass of C, which is an E, and then a G minor chord here. That's how we're going to make it. There's 2 ways to make it. So you can make it here, which is what I would suggest, because we're right there. I mean, our hand is there. And then we'll leap to get to the A. You could also leap up to E fundamental bass and grab the G minor with your pinky, like that, and then you'd be closer to A, right? So I would suggest 3rd finger on the E fundamental bass and pinky on the G minor. But that's really up to you. I would suggest here, E bass and G minor. So let's go over there and write that out. So we'll start getting kind of a left hand thing. C6, B7. See, maybe we could probably fit 8 bars on a line, I bet. And I will put this in the groups. I would say I'd put it in the forums, but it's not forums anymore. I'll put this in the group. And this manuscript, what I'm writing, not sharp 9, sharp 11. Okay. So the chord shape for the left hand is just C. And we'll put the major. And then this next 2 measures is where it goes to B7. And I'm going to say sharp 11. Play with that one. And that's going to be an F7 chord. So B bass plus F7 for both of these. Got to zoom in again. F7. Okay, and then we're back to C6, which we're just going to play regular old. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C6. Same thing. And then we've got the E minor 7, flat 5 to an A7. So this is what we're just talking about. And let's see. So it's a E bass plus a G minor chord. So let me get some fingering here. Let's see. So I would do 4. And the underscore means that it's made on the counterbass. And then I would do 2 there. So I'll show you guys 4 and 2. And I'm a lot of the time, maybe 51 or 60% of the time, I use my 4th finger on the root of the chord. I do also use my 3rd finger there a lot of the time, but more often I use my 4th finger. So let me go ahead and put some in here. So this would be probably 4 and 3, although maybe I'd do 3 and 2. It all depends. Same thing. And then for this one, let's see, this is a counterbass here. So that's definitely going to be my 2. And this will be my 3rd finger. Get that a little bit more neat. So 3 on the B counterbass and 2 on the F7. And then back to 4 and 3. And again, and then we're going to go to 4 and 2 for the E minor 7 flat 5 and 4 and 2 for the A. Here. 4 and 2. Okay. Now let's go back. Je suis Seul Ce Soir. Okay, so we're through 8 measures now on this tune. So now we just did this. Now we have this chord progression. This is a 2-5-1. And we're going to play this. We'll go ahead and play the minor 7. And I suggest that you make it middle finger on D, pinky on F major. And the reason is that it's close to where you were. You were on A7. So may as well just go down or toward your feet 1 column, put your middle finger on that D and your pinky on the F. And then your 3rd finger and pinky are being used. So that leaves your 4th and 2nd, which you can come down for the G7. 4 on the G and 2 on the G7. And then we're going to go to 4 and 3 on the C major. So I'm just going to write this out here. So D minor 7 and G7, and then C6 and C6. And then I think, let's see, what's mixed up here? Okay, so then it's going to go to B7 after the C, and then we have the 3 6 2 5. Okay, so 2 5 1, and this is 3 6 2 5. And these are common chord progressions. They're like harmonic vocabulary that we want to learn. Let's see. So after this, we go to B7, and then we can do E minor 7, A7, and then D minor 7, G7. Okay. So again, for here, I would use this and this. And here, that, and then back to just regular old C. So then for the fingering, I would put my third finger on the D and my pinky on the F. That usually wigs people out. When you have to use your pinky laterally like this, you want to make sure that, like, to get that in there, we need the pinky curled, not tense, but just curled up there. And a wonderful thing to start to do more and more of is try to let your fingers lay flat across the rows. So like if I'm on the bass rows like this, and I'm doing sort of a more stretch like from my chin direction to my feet, let those kind of line up like this rather than, I don't know, having them all whatever, other shapes that are not useful. If you get them sort of collected and resting, that also helps you measure because you're touching the other buttons. So here's my middle finger on the D, and my pinky is here on the C. So all I need to do is really go down one column, and then I'm there. And with all these chords, exploring them by moving the chord shape around is a great idea. Do a little arpeggio with it. Then we'll go down to G, to C minor, to F minor. And the reason that that's really good to do in both hands is that your right hand is playing a different system, right? Obviously, it's a piano layout. So it's linear, chromatic, everything is in the same sort of intervals, half steps. The left hand is not like that, and it's moving in fifths. So this really, in your brain, this creates a unified understanding when you do like something. So like in my right hand, I'm telling my brain, oh, I'm arpeggiating a D minor 7. And in my left hand, I'm playing a D minor 7 with the left hand, right? So the more we can do things that combine the two hands together, the better it is for learning. That's just an aside. If you're practicing these chord shapes, if you find any of them like really new and you want to expedite your learning, you want to speed up your learning. Okay, cool. Well, let's just finish this up and then we'll talk about the right hand. I can't believe we're coming up on 2 o'clock on the West Coast already. Okay. So for the B7, why don't we go ahead and do the same F chord shape, or maybe, you know, we'll go ahead and do, since it's not going back to a C after that, maybe we'll just go to the straight 7th chord on the fundamental bass. 4 and 2 and 4 and 2. And then here, now I'm going to use for these are, this is like a 3 6 2 5, but it's also like 2 5s in a row, 2 different 2 5s in a row, 2 5 2 5. So that's useful because the 2 5 chord shape happens a lot in jazz. That's the E minor 7, A7, and then D minor 7 is the same shape to the G7. those are all the same shape, right? And we can use the same fingering here. So this fingering that we're going to use, let's see, on this one is the same as the shapes and fingering that we used over here on this one. So let me label these 2, 5. And this is where the analysis and understanding like what the harmonic function is of what we're playing is super useful, because it helps you see commonalities in chord progressions, which then lead to having better fingering and faster muscle movement and building muscle memory faster. So that's 3 and 5, and this is 4 and 2. And then the E minor 7, A7 is going to be the same. Here's 3. So you're going to play an E bass with a G major chord. If you played an E bass with a G minor chord, you'd have an E minor 7 flat 5, which is what we had up here. So if you use a major, you get E minor 7. If you use a G minor, you get E minor 7 flat 5. Also called half diminished. So let's see, let me get that. Say that that's a major chord, and that's a 7th chord. And then just regular old A7. So that's 3 and 5 and 4 and 2. Okay, so 3 on the E, 5 on the G, and then 4 on the 4 on the A bass and 2 on the A7. And then again, 3 on the D and 5 on the F. And then 4 on the G bass and 2 on the G7. And we're back. And I could go ahead and do the second half, but I think with the amount of time that we have left, I think what's better is to go ahead and do the right hand stuff. So let's talk about the right hand, and let's talk about the melody and ornamentation and harmonization and stuff. I posted over the weekend, actually it was when I was flying in the airplane. I like this 4-hour plane flight from Newark Airport to Portland. And I used that opportunity to edit this video basically from the last live stream that I did. That was 2 weeks ago. Let me show you guys that. That's on my YouTube channel now. And that I added, pardon me, I have a little bit of allergies. View your channel. Here it is right here. So it's spice up your jazz chords. I feel like I could get a better thumbnail. Oh, I also added this one about flying with my accordion. But here it is. And I created like touch. If you do it as chapters, so the touch of the chords, light touch of block chords, rootless A minor 9 chords, alterations on D7 chords, major 6 chords, half step movement. Basically, I added like titles to these little sections, which I love when it's in a learning video, teaching video, and I think this is really great. A lot of what I did in this, most of what I did in this video on What a Difference a Day Made was about right hand chords and common things that I use to create variation in right hand chords, or variation and movement, embellishment, all that sort of stuff. And so as we're talking about this, if you dig this stuff that we're talking about today, maybe go back and check out that video again, because there are a lot of the same ideas. Because I only have so many ideas, and they're honestly, especially when you're playing within an idiom like a genre, a style, like there are only so many things that get done, you know. And certainly, like, it is cool to go out and do new and different things, and that's just how art expands. But if we're teaching things, you know, what I'm going to teach you guys are the commonly played things, of which there are not that many different ones, you know, sidestepping stuff. So if I just kind of bring in some of these ideas, we've got the C major 6. Let's see, C major 6 chords here. This is a great voicing for it, but I might play all the different voicings. I could also create movement here doing a half step above or a half step below. And the half step below tends to sound better. Right, like that, as far as movement. So there I was playing like B6 to C major 6. So here's C major 6 in root position, and then B major 6 below it, and then back. So all of the voices are moving down and back up again. And this is not easy to do. I taught a wonderful small group class this morning on jazz stuff, and we were talking about this dominant 7 chords, moving them. And I'm very aware that it takes practice to get better with moving chords chromatically, and it's a super useful thing. So I really suggest you all work on it, practice it. So that's a thing that I could do for movement. Another thing that I've shown before a million times, and I have a bunch of videos on it, is the 6th diminished scale. So that's where you're taking, I'm not even going to explain it because I've explained it a million times. Google it, look on my channel, look even for the What a Difference a Day Made video. But it would be, right? If I were going to do the 6th diminished scale on here, I have to do a B7 chord and then an A sharp diminished. And that's not so easy. And then back to the C major 6. That one's really nice. So the E minor 7 flat 5, you can do the 6th diminished here. So you're just alternating this E minor 7 flat 5 with a D sharp diminished. It also is the same as a G minor 6th diminished scale. And then the A7. So you could do all that kind of stuff. The other things that I might do is, especially if I'm harmonizing the melody, there are some places where in order to do block chords, I need to open some of them up. And one of the main reasons is that the melody is the root of the chord. So the melody is the root of the chord. So it's very important that I look at what the melody is, right? Because to harmonize a melody, I'm putting the notes of my chord below the melody notes. So here's a C. I don't want to have any of my chord, of the rest of the chord above, or you don't hear the melody. If it's supposed to sound like, right? In order to sound like that, I have to have that melody note as the top of the chord. It can't be in the middle or at the bottom of the chord. If it is, like say I did a different inversion of C major 6, where E is at the top. All of a sudden, the melody is changed. We hear dum da dum. We hear the E at the top. So this is a human brain thing, a phenomenological thing, that humans hear the top of the chord as the melody note. And so when we harmonize, we have to keep the melody note as the top. And so there's 2 ways to do this. The first way, or there are more than 2 ways, but I'm going to show 2 ways. So this is close position. And then this, which we can do them both ways, is open position. And it's also a drop 2. And drop 2s are great. I think if you're intrepid and excited about jazz chords, start checking out drop 2s. They're not easy to do, but man, do they sound great, and you can absolutely learn them. So I'll play this on clarinet so I can keep my hand and my face in the frame. So here's the closed position. Right? And that's this one. And I'm just repeating this first chord shape for twice because that's the melody, right? Je suis sous ce soir. Now I'm going to do this first measure with the open position. Let's see. Let me do it on bassoon. With the left hand. That's closed position, open. You don't hear too much of a difference there. A little bit, not too much. When we get to here, though, if we harmonized this B7, which we want to, with a 4-note chord, it winds up that your A is right there, and your F sharp and D sharp are here, and this is bad. To have the melody so close to a harmony note is cluttering. So it's a Sierra picture. That's, you hear it coming through, but it's quite cluttered there. So what's better is, like, I wouldn't suggest you play this. If you can't do the open position, then just play a simpler chord voicing. But the well, let me do all that again. So that's the closed position. And in the open position, we're going to drop this note there. The second note from the top, we're going to drop that down to there. So this moves to there. And then we're still going to have the F sharp and the D sharp. So let me kind of clean that up a little bit, get another color. So that A, we drop the 2. And it's the 2 because it's the second voice from the top. So instead of saying drop the second voice from the top, they say drop 2. It's a shorthand. It's an arranging thing. And we're on accordion, we're arrangers. That's so much clearer and nicer. Let's see, no. That's where it goes. So many of these melody notes are the roots of the chord. Like here, the melody is E and the root of the chord is E. So because we want to put a 7th in there, that 7th would be, again, too close. It's too close. So we either need to leave it out. So you could have, let's add everything except that. So there's the B flat and the G, right? And let's see. Let's see. So F and then D would be there. So that's the D. That would be here. That's a kind of a big stretch. Sounds very cool, especially with left hand. Now that's a very big reach from the C sharp to the E, which again, you can all learn to do, and I suggest you do at some point, but maybe for starting out, that might be too much. So in this case, I would just say, so I'm going to put that as parentheses. So like optional. And this is just for playing the melody. This is only for harmonizing the melody. Okay. What other stuff? All right. So let's talk about ornamenting the melody now. So this is harmonizing the melody. Let's talk about ornamenting the melody. So ornamentation of the melody would be putting more notes around the melody or playing with the rhythm of it. So let's talk about playing with the rhythm of the melody. Again, I want to be in this. I want you guys to see. Two. So what I'm doing is I'm adding more melody notes. I'm repeating them. And this is something that's often overlooked, but it's very simple, especially for beginners. It's a way to create personality and meaning and like humanity in your melody. And it's very easy to do. So you're going to use your jazz and swing intuition based on all the swing and jazz music you've played and you've heard throughout your life. You certainly could play it like that. And at the beginning, the very first statement, you might want to. But as you play it again or reference the melody, or even just start right out the gate with something different, you might want to like repeat these. So let's see, I'll go to purple, repeat with a question mark. So you could do dum bum 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 bum. Let's see, bum bum. And then maybe I'll put I'll write that in there a little bit. Da da dee da da dee da. Add another one. Dum dee da da da. Right? And then again. Da da. Da da. Maybe another one here. Da da dee da. Da dee da da da. Da da. I'm getting real emphatic here. Dee da dee da. Da 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 dum. I'm always hearing this in my head. I frequently hear this melody as starting on the A, not the G. La da da dum. Right? Okay. So this is just an example of some repeated melody notes here. Let me get that into the thing for you guys. All right. So I'm going to play my repeats. 1, 2. Chicka 1, 2. So let's see. 1, 2, 3. Right? So it's sort of like there's like this sort of quality of the right way we're supposed to do things in music and performance in general. And I would say that like this word I'm about to say, command, to command, that can be interpreted in like a million different ways and can mean a bunch of different things. But as a sort of a general wrapper, that whether we're playing with super forward energy, you know, very assertive energy, or energy that's very reserved and sort of held back, no matter what it is, the magic essence here is command, that we're commanding the attention and the energy around us. And it occurs to me that like what this repeated note thing does is it's a relatively easy to execute way to add a lot more of command and presentness of a person's identity, your identity, my identity, ourselves to this melody. It's a really great way. And so when I do something like this, where I add on the second line, is what I'm trying to point out, I'm really taking up a lot of the space. Right? I'm very much taking up the space in my interpretation of the melody, and I'm not doing it with all this fancy notes and, you know, stuff like we've heard Django and many other musicians do. I'm just doing it with repeating the note in a good way, in a way that swings and has a lot of style, but still, I'm just repeating the same note. So again, I offer this to you as something that's really useful, and you want to do it, and it's often overlooked. Okay, so that's embellishing the melody with repeated notes. We could add grace notes. So let's see. Harmonize the melody. Embellish with, where's purple? Repeated notes. And then we can embellish. Oh, I missed the M. with grace notes. I'll do that in a color though. We'll do pink. Pink will be good. So could do that as a grace note. So I did that one here. In fact, rather than write in the grace note is always going to be half step below. So I'm just going to put a little parentheses. Half step below grace note. So let's say that I've taken here. Everywhere you see the pink parentheses, I'm going to throw a grace note on there. It's a lot of grace notes, but it doesn't feel like too many. I don't feel burdened. It doesn't sound cheesy. What if I did it on all the notes? Let's see. That sounds a little, maybe a little bit too much, you know? What if I put the grace notes on the two notes that I don't have parentheses? It's not bad. I think I like the first way. I'm just going to throw them in there. So it's trial and error and your intuition here, but you're not going to go wrong adding these. So I have here. So I would do probably the first one. La di da da da. No. Probably here. Bow, wait. Okay. And this kind of grace note ornament is super easy to add conceptually. Very, very easy to understand. So terminology that we need to know here is the idea of a target note. So what's the actual note that's written or that I intend to ornament? So let's just say it's a C. Then the grace note is going to be a half step below the note. So sometimes the grace note is a white note, right? And sometimes if the half step below is a black note, then that's going to be your grace note. Right? And very often I like to use two different fingers. And the other thing to know about a grace note is in time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So usually in time, the grace note comes at the same time that you would play the note. So if I would play the note C on beat 1, 1, 2, and 3, 4. I would play the grace note, like if you slowed me down, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that my hand is striking the B at the same place in time that it would strike the C, but I'm just off of it so quick. It doesn't feel like, it feels like a grace note. So grace notes get performed differently in different kinds of music. So I feel like for people that are new to swing, it's good to point that out. And in swing, most of the time, this kind of ornament is a half step below. In other music, like Balkan music, for example, or Balkan styles, of which comprise so many different things, but very often you hear a lot of half step above ornaments, which we don't hear very often in swing, jazz, this sort of early to mid 20th century sound. Cool. Okay. Well, if I started properly, yeah, I did. Then we've been at 2 hours. So I think I just kind of spent through that first hour just rambling and trying to figure things out, but that's okay. I'm going to put this up. This is not as thorough a dive as I'd hoped to do, but that's okay. It's iterating the same ideas as we've talked about before. And I'll be on next week and we'll do more stuff. I'm kind of looking for like to find that great blend between being consistent with the ideas and bringing them in, showing how they are on different tunes. But also, as I'm doing this, I'm like, man, you're just saying the same stuff over and over again, which is true in a lot of ways. You know, like we're always going to approach these swing tunes with a lot of the same ideas, or else they're not going to sound like the swing tunes. You know, idioms are based on commonly played things. That being said, there's a certain vibrancy that comes from creativity and approaching things in new ways. So next week I'll choose another tune, and I might do a tune that's not in the Django and June repertoire. It might be this beautiful tune called "The Man I Love," which I think Gershwin wrote, and the A section chords are kind of unique. It's a really pretty ballad, and more of that. So look for an email from me later this week. That's about how to get into the very first accordion yoga class, and you'll see me next Tuesday on the live stream. This material that I wrote up, this page here, and then this page with these chord shapes are going to be posted in the groups, and I will have that fixed up. If you had been on the forums already, it's going to be a little bit different, but nothing about your account has changed. Just this particular, they took away the forums and I'm migrating stuff to the groups. That's all. Gabriel, Melodia, I would love to come to Brazil, man. Next time I'm there, I'm going to hit you up ahead of time. And Jose G from Spain, hello to you. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll have more of this stuff as we move forward. And you're welcome, Birdie, you're welcome. Everybody's welcome. And yeah, see you guys all next week.